Hi everyone, I'm Matthew. I'm the County Youth Commissioner for Central Yorkshire, but more importantly today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a pizza just like this. So to mix your dough you can either use a bread maker. If you've got a mixer with dough fittings you could use a mixer, or if it's easier you can just do it by hand. So I'll be using a bread maker, so you'll take whatever you're using, and then the first step is to take your 300 grams of strong white flour, or you can use bread flour too, and just sieve that into the container. You're then going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And then just 1 teaspoon of salt. And finally, just half a teaspoon of yeast. You're then going to take your mixture, and if you're using a bread machine like I am, just put it into the pizza dough setting. If you're using a mixer, then just mix until it's clearly combined together. And if you're doing it by hand, do the same, just start off with a spoon and then eventually mix by hand until it's all a doughy consistency. So once you've mixed your dough together, whether that be by bread maker, by mixer or by hand, then you need to leave it to prove. Now if you've done it by hand or by mixer, then you just need to cover up the bowl, so a dishcloth would do, and you need to find a quite warm place in the house that you could put it. So if you've got an airing cupboard with a boiler in, that would be useful, or anywhere that's just a bit warmer than room temperature. If you've done it at a bread maker, then the heat from the mixing should still be in there, so you can just pop the lid down and leave that. If you've got the time, then try and leave it to prove for about 1 to 2 hours, but if you're in a rush, then half an hour to an hour would be okay. Okay, so once you've proven your dough for a couple of hours, you just need a large worktop space and just get some plain flour and just sprinkle it out so that your dough doesn't stick. Now you need to decide what you want to cook it on in the oven. So if you've got a round tray like this, you can use that. If you've got a pizza stone like I'll be using, you can use that. Or if you've got neither, you can just line a baking tray with some baking paper and use that. Now once you've decided what you're going to use, you know how big that your pizza can be. And so if I put the pizza stone here, I can tell that the pizza can't be any bigger than this. So once you know that, if you take all of your dough, now it should be quite light and fluffy by now, but if it's still a bit sticky, you can add some more flour and just let the weight of the dough start to stretch itself into roughly the size of the tray that you're using. Okay, so once you know roughly the size that you can make it, you just want to start being a little more, taking the edges and just pulling them to sort of make it into a bit more of a circular shape. Now it's probably not going to be a perfect circle, so if you just sort of aim for a squircle. Okay, so once you've got it as long as you want, you can, if you want it a bit thicker, the crust, then don't spread it out that much more than that. If you want a thin crust, you almost want to get it to the point where you can just sort of see through it. If at this point you're using a pizza stone, then you want to take that pizza stone and just put it in the oven and just allow that to heat up before you put your dough on top of it. If you're using anything else, you should be able to throw things straight in. So now we've got our base ready, we're going to begin with our toppings. Now this is completely up to you what you do, so I'll show you what I like, but everything up after now is up to you. So I'm going to use a tomato and basil base. Now if you prefer, you can use a barbecue sauce or a plain tomato one. Now you don't want to go too overboard, so maybe just 2 heaped spoons and just spread that around with your spoon. Okay, so now we've got a tomato on, I'm going to add a layer of grated cheese. So again, less is sometimes more, so you don't want to put too much on, you just want to give it a good sprinkle across the pizza. And make sure, as you're doing all these toppings, make sure it goes right near enough to the edge, leaving a little crust, just so you've not got any doughy pieces. Okay, after the grated cheese, I'm going to add some fresh buffalo mozzarella, which is just a bit nicer and it'll melt as the pizza cooks. And again, the rest of the toppings are up to use. You can use vegetables, peppers, olives, as well as meats, chicken and pepperoni and ham. Today I'm going to be using some cured ham, which I'll just rip into smaller pieces and throw on around the pizza, just like that. Again, you don't want too much. And similarly with the pepperoni, just a few slices just placed around the pizza like so. And then if you want, you can add another sprinkle of cheese, or you can just put it in the oven just like it is. Okay, so now we're ready to go into the oven. Now, if you were using a baking tray or just a pan dish, then you can just bob it on and throw it straight in. If you're using a pizza stone, obviously you've just taken this out of the oven as it's been preheating, so it's going to be very hot. Now, again, like you did with the worktop, you just want to give it a very light dusting, not too much, otherwise it'll burn, onto the tray, so it's a bit easier to come off when it comes out of the oven. You're then going to just sort of gently pull across your pizza like so. Make sure it doesn't fall off the edges too much, and just tidy it up a bit around the corner, and hopefully it fits a good size just like this, and it is then ready to go into the oven. Okay, now your pizza's out of the oven, all that's left to do is to slice it into pieces and enjoy. Okay, so our first dessert option is a chocolate orange mug cake. So stick with us and we shall have one of these. Okay, so to make your chocolate orange cake, you're going to take your mixing bowl and you're going to grab your 45 grams of soft butter, so leave this at room temperature for a while, and you're going to put that in. And you're then going to take your 110 grams of caster sugar and put that in, and you're just going to beat them together until they're reasonably well mixed. So once your sugar and butter are mixed together, you're going to take your orange extract and you want just half a teaspoon into the mix. You're going to take that and just throw it straight in. You're then going to take your orange juice, so this time you want 2 tablespoons of orange juice. So again, you're just going to take that and put it straight into the mix. And finally, you're going to take your egg and crack it open and put that in too, and give all that a really good stir. Okay, and then last but not least, you're going to add in your flour and your cocoa powder. Once again, just going to give that one final stir until it's a relatively cake-like mixture. Okay, so before you put your mix in the microwave, we just need to make the drizzle. So we are going to need to put something inside a saucepan to melt this drizzle. So I'm just using a glass jar like this. If you've got something similar, that's perfect. Or if you've just got a bowl that would fit inside a saucepan, anything like that will do. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your icing sugar and just put that in. You're then going to add your chocolate chips and throw them in too. You then need to measure out 50 millilitres of orange juice, and that can just go straight in as well. And then finally you're going to take your Nutella, and you want 2 big spoonfuls of Nutella straight into there. That's 1, and that's 2. If you are allergic to nuts, then you can use any other alternate chocolate spread, and that will work just as well. Okay, so when that's all in there, you're going to mix it around a bit and form a bit of a liquid, and then we're going to go and heat that up. So before you do anything, if at this point you'd normally get help from an older sibling, a parent or a guardian, then make sure you do so, because obviously we're going to be using the stove. Now what you want to do is you want to get your saucepan and fill it with water only about 3/4 of the way, because you're going to put your jar that you've made your ice in into that saucepan and the water, and you're going to make sure that as the water around it heats up, you just keep giving it a stir, and you'll be able to tell as it gets done, because your chocolate chips will have melted. So now we've made the mix and the drizzle, we need a mug. Now we're wanting to fill the mug about 3/4 of the way full. So if you've just got a regular sized mug, the mix will probably make about 2 portions. If you've got a slightly larger mug, you might want to put a bit less in, and then again stretch it out to 2. So you're just going to really simply spoon it in, and you don't need to press it down, but just make sure that it goes into the mug and isn't just in a pile. So like I say, you're looking for about 3/4 full with a regular sized mug, but because this mug's a bit larger, we can probably fill it a bit more. Okay, so once you've made your mix and filled your mug, you're just going to place that in your microwave and put it on the highest setting there is. So for us, that's 900, and you're then going to set it to go for 2 minutes. Okay. Okay, so once you've taken out your very large chocolate orange mug, then you can just take a spoon, and it'll still be very hot, so just be careful, but take the drizzle that you made and, as the name says, just drizzle it across your chocolate orange. Now you'll probably have a lot more drizzle than you need for the top, so if you enjoy it, you can just keep topping it up as you go along. So the second mug cake you can make is a peppermint Nutella flavoured one. So if you carry on watching, you'll find out how to make one just like this. Okay, so the other type of mug cake you can make, if you would prefer, or as well as, is a mint chocolate mug cake. So once again, you'll need your bowl, and then it's a little bit simpler this time. All you need to do is take 4 tablespoons of plain flour and throw them in. You then need 3 tablespoons of milk and pop that in. You need a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Put that in. You then need a 1/4 teaspoon of peppermint extract. So you need to throw that in. You then need 1 tablespoon of Nutella. As you mix in, you also just need to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract and a 1/4 teaspoon of vegetable oil. Once again, just mix it a little more. So once again, it needs to go into a mug. Now this time it makes just the one mug, so just one small mug will do. And it'll probably be a little runnier than the chocolate orange one. So rather than scooping it in, you can just spoon it in like so. You just want to get all the mix and put it in the mug. So before we put the cake into the microwave, we just need to make some whipped cream to serve on top. So you just need to take your double cream. Now remember, you're only making one, unless you're making more, so you only need a little bit and in a relatively small dish. And then if you just take a whisk and whisk until whipped. So once again, you just need to bob it in your microwave on the highest heat you can. So we've got 900, and this time just 1 minute. So once it's out of the microwave, all you need to do is take some of your whipped cream and just put a dollop on top. And then if you've got some sprinkles, just give it a sprinkle. And there you have your peppermint mug cake.